It's been 2 weeks since the first half of the last season of Star Wars Rebels came out. So, what's going to happen in the next half of the season? Hey there all, so as I said, the first half of the Star Wars Rebels final season was about 2 weeks ago. So I thought I'd give you my predictions for what's going to happen in the second half of the season. We don't know what's going to happen. We haven't seen any trailers or previews for it yet anyhow, so what's going to happen? Seriously, what's going to happen? We don't know. Well, we know something's going to happen. We know that Hero and Chopper are going to survive, but that's it. That's really it that we know of for going to happen, for sure. All we can do is, well, make our predictions and hope we guessed correctly. That's really all that we can do. So, might as well go into and talk about what I think is going to happen. Well, we know Hero is going to, spoilers if you haven't seen the first half of season 4 yet. So we know Hero is going to escape from the Empire's custody and get off Lothal. But as for the other characters, I'm not sure. They may get off Lothal. I'm thinking some of them will, some of them may not. We don't know. I could see Zeb surviving, how would we never have noticed a big Wookiee-sized purple being in the original trilogy? And they can always be elsewhere at times because we don't see them in the original trilogy. Now the thing is, it's really we can, Zeb, Sabine, Agent Kaz, Captain Rex, all those characters. We don't see them, but we can say they may survive, they may not. If they survive, it really doesn't impact the main storyline of the original trilogy. It's if Ezra and Kanan, their survival is what's more in question. Because the other characters, if they don't survive, so be it. If they do survive, so be it. But Ezra and Kanan's survival will greatly affect what we know about the Jedi at the time of the the Galactic Civil War. Now, we know that Yoda is aware of them because Yoda spoke to Ezra in the first season using the Force. And that. So the thing, and though, you know how in Empire Strikes Back when Luke goes off, Obi-Wan says to Yoda, that boy's our only hope, and Yoda says, no, there's another. So many people have interpreted that to meaning that Luke was essentially the last Jedi, and there's one other hope left, which most people assume was Leia. And I think based off of how we learned from a certain Star Wars from a certain point of view, which included Yoda's point of view, even though he never experienced any of those events, but it was neat to see what he was doing. He wanted to train Leia. So him referring to when saying there's another, it's clearly he's referring to Leia in that as being able to end the Empire and stop the Sith's rule. Which go back to how only Darth Vader, only Anakin Skywalker's children were able to redeem Darth Vader to become, so he could be Anakin Skywalker once again and kill the Sith. Because in Star Wars Rebels, Ahsoka couldn't draw Anakin out of Darth Vader. Probably the closest thing you'd get to someone being able to draw Anakin out until you get to Luke and Leia. I don't think Obi-Wan never had been into. Wait, before Luke and Leia, probably Ahsoka did stand the best chance of being able to, but we know that even she couldn't do it, so that meant because they wanted to be only Luke and Leia could redeem Darth Vader. So that doesn't mean there's no other Force users present in the galaxy at the time of the original trilogy. We know they exist, not just the dark side. You had all those people on Jeddah, they were around, the ones who survived and those who came back. You had no planetary based ones. Even Legends it kind of in the later years started talking about other force wielding orders besides the Jedi and the Sith. They're the ones we mainly see. And I don't know if this could be the Mandela effect on affecting me or the entire Star Wars fan community. But I really don't remember any time in the original trilogy saying that the Jedi, except for Obi-Wan and Yoda, were totally wiped out. Sure, last other Jedi have been, I think, was used a few times if I remember, but I'm not even fully confident on that. Because we know Yoda and Obi-Wan are aware of Ezra and Kane's existence. But that doesn't mean they're actually Jedi. I feel like if they all survive, they'll be Jedi. They'll be like the gray Jedi of Legends. Still follow the Jedi code in that, but much more guided by the Force. Force more willing to use maybe some of the darker aspects of the Force, not just the light side only. So hard to say, and it's possible that Ezra and Ken will die. I think Ken actually is more likely to die than Ezra, because Ken was in the Jedi Order, and he was knighted by the light side. How do I put it? The light side fourth apparition of the Grand Inquisitor. That's the best way I can put it. He was essentially knighted. So he really has to be put out of the way. It's Ezra who does not necessarily have to be, because he could be fighting somewhere else. He could have been, who knows? He does raise him because Kenny would be more questionable why he's not there, why if he survived, why Luke never reached out to him than Ezra. Luke would have reached out to Ken, I'm sure. He would have, for some guidance. But Ezra, maybe not. Maybe not. That's the thing. But so I have feeling one of them will have to die or something. Something connected to Losal for Ken, for sure. In fact, I'm going to guarantee that he's something. But it won't be like a death scene, it'll be him more like joining the Force but not dying. Because Rebels is still a kid's show. So they'll probably, but I know they have a way to handle Ken and to address the fact that none of these characters actually. But some of them can be right off as easy. Well, they just weren't shown on screen. Very easy. It's just some characters they do have to be careful. So this has turned more into no longer a prediction on the conclusion, but more of a just general discussion on the conclusion of Star Wars Rebels. And feel free to let me know in the comments, what do you think about this topic? How do you feel it's going to end, in the changes, not the changes, but the decisions they're going to have to make in order to address it all. So feel free to let me know that stuff in the comments. And before I conclude the video, I just have a few other things I do want to mention. That I really hope they give a very satisfying conclusion as opposed to the Clone Wars, which we know they will. They're going to wrap up hopefully all the loose ends, especially some of the more filler-like episodes that from the third season, which I don't know why people gave them as much hate as they did. They weren't the best episodes, but they weren't terrible either. It's like, this is kind of off topic, but it's like, this is bad Star Wars, but good sci-fi. It's the same thing applies to Star Trek too. That's what a lot of people say about the original series episode Spock's Brain or Star Trek. They call it bad Star Trek, but good sci-fi. There's that out, and I see the same thing applies in Star Wars. Those filler episodes in Star Wars Rebels, they weren't necessarily bad sci-fi. They were just bad or poor Star Wars. That's the thing. Franchises do have their expectations, and I want to put out. But I know the conclusion is going to be interesting. I also hope they kind of take a cue from the movies and their ending and kind of end with a silent montage of scenes. I think for each character, I think for Callus, Hera, Chopper, and I can say Rex for sure, we can see them on Yavin at a meeting of the Rebel High Command. they would all fit in there pretty much no problem. I could even see them exploring in the future, like a storyline if Rex does survive Star Wars Rebels. I would love a storyline that somehow he works with making a rebel, an elite unit of rebellion troopers to fight in the Galactic Civil War. No, trained, disciplined, like that kind of stuff. Maybe he does. Maybe that's why we don't see Rex, because he's on some other base training new soldiers for the rebellion. And they have to train somehow. Sure, they often do. Often give it just gives them a blaster and tell them go for it. But it would be nice to actually see some training. That would actually be a good place to fit Rex in, given all his years of experience. Callus can fit in pretty much anywhere, but lots of those the characters that I would say are very safe for survivability, which would be Callus. Callus would be very safe for survivability. We know Hero is going to survive. We know Chopper. Those are like the three most safe to say they will survive. Rex is not as safe because, like, okay, say if he was on Yavin 4 during the Battle of Yavin. He was one of the past named Luke Skywalker. Is he related to Anakin at all? Rex would wonder that because he served under Anakin and was good friends with Anakin. So, the fact that we don't see Rex reaching out to Luke at all would say something. Now, it's possible that they never met or it's just been off screen, but it reminds me of one of the scenes in A New Hope, which was in the original version, but they later cut out, where the Red Leader said that he had saw Luke's father fly. It was cut out for unexplicable reasons, but so why was that cut out? In my opinion, that scene is still fully canon. They trimmed it down, but in my opinion, it still exists because it doesn't detract from anything. It just adds, like, yes, people are going to see might have seen Anakin Skywalker. Like, there could have been some exchanges like that between Luke and Rex that we never saw on screen. It is possible. But that's kind of a tiny bit off topic. But some of the other characters, let's talk about Zeb. Again, he could be off somewhere as well. His survivability, I would say, is as solid thing, because there's that, because if he was in the original trilogy, come on, we would have noticed him. A big purple alien that's the size of a Wookiee. So that's why his survivability is not as guaranteed, because he's harder to blend into the background, but still kind of likely, because he can survive no problem. We don't have to see him. He can be somewhere else. Let's go on next to Sabine. Well, her survivability again is kind of like Rex, not Rex, Zeb, because her armor makes her stand out. But then again, her armor was Mandalorian. She could have been fighting. She could have been fighting the Empire over on Mandalore. That could be where some of the Rebels characters could end up. Why we don't see them? Well, that's because maybe they're stuck in Mandalorian space. And since the time period between the end of the Aftermath trilogy and The Force Awakens is very empty, who knows what have happened there and what Luke Skywalker is doing since. All we know essentially is that he went to Imperial and he might have shown up for his nephew's birth. That's like it we know about Luke Skywalker between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Oh, and that he found a new Jedi Order and was training his nephew. But really, we don't know much, so it's possible that afterwards some of these characters like Ezra and Ken, if they survive, could have met Luke Skywalker afterwards, because we just saw the Mandalore because we never heard about Mandalore, so it's very possible that and they were fighting the Empire on their own in their own little civil war, so it's possible that some rebels, the main characters were over there. I would say that's a pretty good chance that Sabine survives. That's where she is. Zeb could be anywhere there. Also, for Ken, he's actually the only one I can say with confidence I think will not survive. All the others, the survivability and non-survivability, I'm kind of unsure on, except for Hero and Chopper, who we know survive. But Ken, I don't think will survive, or at least not survive in the sense of living. It's a Force. What do you expect? But it's Ezra I think is really the most questionable one of all. So if he does not survive, he has to be stuck somewhere where Luke would never meet him. And really, the best place I can think of would be one, he's been captured by the Empire, or two, he's stuck on Mandalore. I mean, Mandalore's gonna be like, unless they survive, that's where they are. That's literally gonna be my default answer, but does kind of fit. Like, where else would they be? But that's really all I have for you. I don't know how long this video has been, but you guys do know. But it's been long enough. It's been a nice, good discussion, in my opinion. And I said earlier, I would love to hear from you. So let me know in the comments section down below. What do you think will happen to the characters at the end of Star Wars Rebels? What do you think is going to happen? Now, I didn't talk too much about like events like I was initially intended to talk about, but that it does happen. But I think what I talk about is more beneficial because, well, we know there's going to be there's the real question is what happens to the characters that we want to have answered. And except for a few characters, we are totally unsure or have decent speculations. And I just wanted to add my thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. So feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Also consider following me on social media. You can again let me know things there too. Things that series you may have, predictions you may have. But no spoilers. No leaks. I hate those. I don't mind series though. I love series. Nice good speculations, and you can sometimes shoot them down and say, yeah, that does make some sense. So thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day or good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.